Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's workflow webinar, Getting Started with EndNote Click. Thanks for joining me. My name is Jimmy McCollery, Digital Education Specialist here at Clarivate, primarily focusing on developing EndNote training materials. Previously, I was an EndNote product support representative for about 17 years. Before we get started, I want to mention to everyone that I'll send a video recording of today's class to all registrants. Typically, I send the link to the recording within 24 hours. So if you find yourself needing to drop off before the end of the class, or if we happen to run a bit long, feel free to drop and you can review the rest of the session at your convenience with the recording link. As we proceed through the lesson plan, feel free to ask questions in the chat during the class, and we'll be spending the end of our session covering those questions. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be concentrating on a handy browser extension for researchers called EndNote Click. This Clarivate solution, formerly known as Kopernio, is a free, easy-to-use browser plugin that helps you save time accessing full-text journal articles by utilizing your institutional affiliation, as well as providing an easy method of capturing open-access content. EndNote Click also provides benefits to libraries. Adding EndNote Click EndNote Click support helps to increase your value and usage of your library holdings by bringing your subscriptions and open access content into your researchers' workflows in one click. After surpassing a minimum usage threshold at your institution, we're able to grant Web of Science subscribers access to a tool called the EndNote Click Institutional Dashboard. And this utility provides insight into the resources your patrons are utilizing and helps to spot possible gaps in coverage. For publishers interested in implementing EndNote Click support, you'll be helping connect researchers to your content in one click. Legal access to your version of record is now never more than one click away with the EndNote Click extension. EndNote Click works both on and off campus, and the extension integrates with over 20,000 academic websites, including PubMed and the Web of Science. Before we begin, let's go over the specific learning objectives that we'll be covering during today's overview. We'll go ahead and start by creating a free EndNote Click account. This is something that you could do from a number of major web browsers. We'll discuss browser compatibility in just a little bit. From the EndNote Click homepage, after creating an account, we'll log into our EndNote Click account and install the EndNote Click browser extension in our preferred browser. We'll take a look at the differences between sort of a base level EndNote Click account and what we would call a premium level account. It's very easy to upgrade your account to premium level, as I'll show you how you can do that. And then again, we'll discuss the various benefits that doing so provides. We'll look at the EndNote Click locker. I'll provide a tour of the locker itself. We'll examine an individual individual PDF within the locker and how you can access if it's indexed in the Web of Science, so you can get back to that source record. Show you how you can share that article with a colleague or export that article directly to your bibliographic manager, whether it be EndNote or another citation management solution. And you have the ability with EndNote to export from your locker either to EndNote Desktop or EndNote Online. And again, we'll cover all of those various locker options in just a little bit. And then once we've exported, we've taken a look at the locker and we've initiated an export to EndNote Desktop, I'll show you how you can use this tool outside of the locker on over 20,000 scholarly sites to try to locate PDFs related to search results that you're capturing or that you're locating through your queries, so that you can retain these research articles in an EndNote library, whether they be on your desktop or in the cloud. With that said, we're ready to dive in here. We're going to be focusing our class examples in Google Chrome. However, EndNote Click, like I mentioned, is compatible with other major web browsers. You can load this browser extension into Mozilla Firefox. You can load the browser extension into other Chromium-based browsers. So that means a browser like Microsoft's Edge browser, which is Chromium-based, you would be able to load the EndNote Click extension. You can also load EndNote Click into the Opera browser as well. So there's some flexibility in that regard. The primary browsers that you won't be able to load EndNote Click into are Internet Explorer and Apple's Safari browser. We are looking into compatibility with Safari. There is a place on the EndNote Click website where you can vote for the addition of or the creation of that compatibility. But as of now, I do apologize. This is an extension that you can't load into Apple Safari browser. We're going to go ahead and add this extension to our Chrome browser that we're looking at right now. Now, if you're an EndNote 20 user, this is something that gets installed automatically into your default browser. So again, just through performing a basic EndNote 20 installation, that by default will load this add-in for your preferred default browser. But if you visit click.endnote.com from any of the browsers that I've mentioned, you can install the browser from the site itself as well. So we'll go ahead and click on Add to Chrome for free. And we'll see that this takes us directly to the Chrome Web Store where the EndNote Click extension is available. And as I mentioned, this extension or this tool had been formerly known as Kopernio. And you may see that Kopernio branding here and there as we're performing the or completing the rebrand of this tool. But we mentioned specifically here, that this is a tool formerly known as Kopernio. We'll go ahead and add this to Chrome and go ahead and provide my approval to the browser, authenticate that action. Perfect. So this browser extension is now installed. Before we proceed, what I'm actually going to do is click this little puzzle piece icon near the top right of my Chrome window where I can pin an extension icon to my browser window itself, make it a little bit easier to access some additional settings. So here I got an option for EndNote Click, formerly Kopernio. I'm going to go ahead and pin this. And we see that we now just have a shortcut directly on the browser itself, the browser window itself. And again, we'll be looking at some settings under this icon in just a little bit. We'll go ahead and complete the sign-up process. This is a one-time process that you'll perform when you're creating your EndNote Click account. I'm just going to go ahead and put in some generic details here for our test account. And now that that's finished, I'll go ahead and click on Create My EndNote Click Account to proceed. And we see that I'll have an option here, or you'll have an option when you're creating your account, to link your EndNote Click account to your institution. And then that way, not only will EndNote Click try to locate, open access resources for you, but will also try to query, library resources through your institution using your institutional credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and input Clarivate here, of course, as an example. And now that I've got this configured, I can always change this down the road for my EndNote Click settings, but I'll go ahead and proceed by selecting this institution. All right, so now we have, now that we've completed the sign-up process, we have some other settings that we can configure, and these are settings that we can configure later if you'd like as well. But while we're here, let's go ahead and define my role. We'll go ahead and say Other for my role. You have the ability to choose a preferred reference manager when you're exporting directly from your EndNote Click locker. And if you're working with an application like EndNote, as we will be today, you can choose that as the default export option and customize the wording of that export option. And then there's what we call quick search integration in the Smart extension for the EndNote Click browser extension, where you can quickly perform a search of 3 separate search providers. So if you find yourself frequently querying the Web of Science, you can choose that as your quick search provider, PubMed or Google Scholar. Let's go and let's set Web of Science today as our quick search provider. And then finally, while we're on this wrap-up page, we'll go ahead and access the first PDF, an example PDF that we can capture with EndNote Click to start out with. So go ahead and click on that link here, get me an example PDF. We see that in some instances, when you're looking at individual articles and an individual article page, you'll find that in the bottom left of the article page itself, if EndNote Click is able to find a PDF, you'll be shown a sort of purple icon as we see here that mentions View PDF. I've got a pop-up here describing the purpose of this button. I'm going to go ahead and close the pop-up tip. If I point my mouse over View PDF, we can see, where it's found. And so this particular PDF, there's an open access version that's available, publisher version, and the pop-up is letting me know that this particular article is not yet in my EndNote Click locker. And I think I'll go ahead and capture this in my locker to start with by clicking View PDF. Now this takes me to my individual locker page. This is my EndNote Click locker, which is sort of a holding space for full text articles that I want to keep track of with the tool and perhaps export to a bibliographic manager like EndNote. From this locker page, this individual article page within my locker, I've got some options over here on the left. We see that for this particular article, I have a really brief summary example reference for this particular research article. I see that this is currently saved in my locker. If I wanted to, I could remove this item from my locker as well, if this is something I don't want to keep track of. If I want to download the PDF from my locker to my hard drive, I can actually achieve that from the sidebar here as well. If I want to share this PDF with a colleague, I have the ability to do so here, and I would, not only be providing a, sort of a sharing URL, but I could include a personalized message within this email that will be sent to my colleague here. We see that I have the option to export to EndNote Desktop. This is the export option that we customized by choosing EndNote as our reference manager. If I wanted to send this article to EndNote Online instead, I can push this to EndNote Web. And ultimately, if I'm syncing my EndNote Desktop library with EndNote Online, I'll have the article available in both locations, both environments, the desktop library and the web library as well. I have a link back to the journal page itself. If I just want sort of a plain text citation that I might want to, paste into an email, something like that, I have the ability to generate this directly from the locker page. This is something EndNote Desktop and EndNote Online can do for you as well. But ultimately, if this is, a quick, again, example that you wanted to paste into an email or a word processing document, you can do that quickly from the locker here as well. You can assign tags to each of the items in your locker, and these tags can help organize your locker, and they're also exported to your bibliographic management tool. For EndNote, your EndNote Click locker tags would export to the keywords field. So again, this is a great way to add an extra level of organization to items in your EndNote Click locker. And then we also see that, again, if this is an item that's indexed by the Web of Science, I have a quick shortcut to this item within the Web of Science, so I can access the source record here to review the details of this particular article, and then I have the ability to expand the scope of my search, try to find related references and things like that. So that was a quick overview of the sidebar here in your EndNote Click locker. Now, I did want to point out the Smart extension that we were discussing a moment ago. If you were to click your EndNote Click extension icon, which we've pinned to the top right of Chrome, we see a pop-up here that gives us some additional functionality. This is the quick search, the integrated quick search that we've set to quickly query Web of Science if we chose to do so. I want to click settings before we export anything from the locker, because there are, in addition to some locker specific settings, there are some settings related to the Smart extension that you see here. And when you're getting started with EndNote Click, you want to press the settings link so that you can enable downloads to EndNote Click. You can see that when I've toggled this setting, there's actually an additional permissions prompt that Chrome provides, where we have to basically say that we're approving EndNote Click to perform these following actions, and that's managing your downloads or opening downloaded files. So I want to go ahead and allow that before we proceed any further. I did want to point out, while we're looking at settings here, if you wanted to turn off that View PDF button so that it didn't come up on individual article pages, you can disable that here as well. In just a moment, I'm going to show you an example of EndNote Click integration directly on a search results page, which is really handy, but you can turn that off here as well. While we're on the Smart extension here, let's go ahead and click More Settings to be taken back to the locker, where we have some additional preferences related to our EndNote Click account and the locker environment itself. So the account that we've just created as you can see here, like I mentioned, is a, sort of that free level account. And when you're just getting started with EndNote Click and a free account, you have the ability to store up to 100 megabytes of PDFs in your EndNote Click locker. Now, if you refer just one other person to EndNote Click to start using EndNote Click with your personal invitation link here, that will enhance your EndNote Click account to what we would call a premium account, as we see here. I'll go ahead and click that link just for a moment to review the benefits. So once you're a premium user, your 100 megabyte locker storage would be increased to 2 gigabytes worth of locker storage. You would have the ability to mirror your PDFs from your EndNote Click locker in a Dropbox folder just for backup purposes, essentially. And then you also have the ability to export your EndNote Click locker to a .bibs file, which again can be used to quickly restore a locker in the future, the contents of a locker if you were ever required to do so. I did want to point out, if you are a librarian at an institution with a Web of Science subscription, you can receive a custom promotional referral address or referral link that you can provide to your patrons. And the benefit of providing this referral link to your patrons for signing up is it'll shorten the sign-up process for them. They'll get a premium account right off the bat, and in addition to that, your custom referral link will be tied to your institution, so that when your patrons are creating a free EndNote Click account, they'll be able to bypass the step that asks to link an institution, because by signing up with that custom URL, EndNote Click will already know that they're affiliated with your institution. While we're on this page here, you can see that you can change your personal details if you ever need to do so. At any point, if you change institutions, so you leave one institution and join another, you can clear your affiliation here so that you can set your new institutional affiliation. You can change your password. You can change your email. If you had stored library credentials, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, you can clear those here as well. EndNote Click never receives those credentials. They're stored encrypted in your browser at all times. And again, if you wanted EndNote Click to forget those credentials at any point for whatever reason, you can do so here from the account page. And then while we're on this page, if you ever want to delete your account altogether, you have the ability to do so from this settings page as well. We'll take a look. This was, again, the account tab. If we look at Customize, we see that this is where you can set your quick search browser extension, integration. We had set that to Web of Science. This is where, again, if you hadn't set when you were creating your account, if you hadn't set a reference manager integration preference, you can do so here. If you want to set a default style, as I mentioned, you can quickly copy and paste a formatted reference from your locker into an email or a Word document. You can define your preferred output style, let's say, that you want to apply for those plain text references. And again, for the premium accounts, the EndNote Click premium accounts, if you did want to mirror the contents of your account, of your locker with your Dropbox account, you can set up your association, your account association here from the Customize page. So that was a quick detour into the EndNote Click locker settings. We got into that detour because we needed to enable downloads from Chrome to EndNote Desktop, which we've turned on. I'm now back on the individual, or an example of an individual article page. This here is from that item in the Web of Science, the same item that's in our locker. So I could export it once more from there. Since this is already in the locker, I'm just going to return to the locker tab that I had open in Chrome. And because I've now configured the setting to allow exports to EndNote, if this ultimately is a reference and article that I would like to store in my EndNote Desktop library, I can click the link, Export to EndNote Desktop. And the first time this export occurs, what will happen is that, in this case, Google Chrome is going to download a temporary internet file that ultimately needs to be opened by EndNote to complete the export. And this is something that you'll need to configure before the tool will function as expected. So we see here in Google Chrome, typically when you download a file, there's a little downloads bar that'll appear at the bottom of your Chrome browser window. We want to click the little arrow icon next to that RIS file that's been downloaded. and we want to tell Chrome that going forward, it should always open files of this type and not just download them. If it gets downloaded, it sort of halts the export process. Ultimately, we need this file to be opened with EndNote to complete the export. In addition to configuring Chrome to open that file, we have to tell, in this case, our operating system how to handle this type of file. And again, this is what's called an RIS file. It's really just a plain text file containing the exported reference information. So whether you're on Microsoft Windows or Apple Mac OS, you'll have to go, again, at this initial time, to your Downloads folder. On Mac OS, it's called Get Info. Here on Microsoft Windows, it's called Properties. If you right-click on that file and choose Properties, we can tell here, Microsoft Windows, how to handle this RIS file. And again, it's really just a plain text file that we want to open with EndNote to complete the export. So I've got that configured here. Now that that's set, I can press OK. And so I could initiate the export now by just double-clicking the RIS file, but I'd like to actually initiate the export once more to sort of start from scratch for our example here. So just to recap, I've told Chrome to always open RIS files from now on going forward. I've told Microsoft Windows that RIS files should be opened or associated with the EndNote application. If I go back to my tab here where I had the article open in my EndNote Click Locker, I can press Export to EndNote Desktop once more. All right, we see that because I already had a library open, Google Chrome knew that that RIS file should be opened automatically. Microsoft Windows knew that file was associated with EndNote 20. My EndNote 20 program came to the front of the screen where I already had a library open, and we see that this new library that I'd created for our example, our class example, we see I now have the reference for that particular article in my EndNote 20 library, and I have the PDF attached to the entry in my library as well. So this is a great time saver. It's sort of a spin or a take on another workflow related to EndNote called direct export. This is something that's been around for quite some time. An information provider can integrate direct export into their website, and then if you choose that export option, your references will be sent to your EndNote library. EndNote Click takes that another level, and not only are you going to end up with the reference information in your EndNote library, but you'll have the PDF for whatever articles you're exporting at the same time in the same workflow. So that was an example of exporting from an article page from the EndNote Click Locker to EndNote Desktop. Just quickly, if I did want to send this, actually, let's use a different article as an example for EndNote Online. We'll go ahead and open up another browser tab here. Let's go to PubMed.gov as an example, I think, next. We see if I perform a search of PubMed.gov, just as an example topic, alcohol consumption, we see that not only do we have the ability to integrate directly on article pages, as I mentioned, but certain information providers like PubMed.gov will allow EndNote Click to integrate directly on the search results page. So not only would you have to visit an individual article to access a PDF, but if from a search results page here on this PubMed.gov search, we knew that this was an item that we wanted to capture, we can actually initiate an export directly from the results page. So if I go ahead and just as an example here, we see a View PDF button here related to EndNote Click. We see that this is an open access article. There's a publisher version available. I did want to mention here at Clarivate, I don't have any specialized article access. Anything that I'm locating is going to be, an open access published article. If you are at an institution like a university, like as I was mentioning, the tool, based on the institutional affiliation that you define, the tool will try to utilize existing, proxy settings related to your university to try to find subscription resources as well. And this is something that EndNote Click can do both on and off campus. If EndNote Click hits a paywall and you've set an institutional affiliation, EndNote Click will try to send you to your institution's login page so that you can provide those credentials And your institutional credentials are never received by EndNote Click. They're not stored on our servers. They're stored in your browser, encrypted in your browser, just like any other set of encrypted credentials that you might store in a browser for another site. And again, this tool can not only find open access resources for you, but subscription articles as well. I'm going to click on View PDF here. And we see that this does take me directly to my EndNote Click locker, where this new PDF has just been added to my locker automatically. And then again, from the locker, if I wanted to send this to EndNote Desktop, I can choose the export option. This time around, I want to click Push to EndNote Web, just to show you that workflow. If you're an EndNote Desktop user, you've got the ability to export to EndNote Desktop. But if you're a web user, you can still use this tool. You just have to link your two accounts once. Your EndNote Online account and your EndNote Click account are technically two separate accounts. At some point, those may merge into one, but at this time, they are two separate accounts. You can use the same credentials for both, but they are two separate accounts. I'm going to go ahead and just link to my EndNote Online account here. Those should be my, oh, let me try to correct my password here. There we go. So we see here it does mention Kopernio still, the previous name of the tool, but it's still the same purpose. It's we want to link EndNote Click to my EndNote Online account, so I'll go ahead and authorize that access. Now that that's done, I can close this window. And we see that I've got a pop-up Push to EndNote Web where I can export this particular article to an existing group in my account, or I can export it to the unfiled group. I think I'll go ahead and do that here just as an example. All right, so that has now allowed me, that option has now allowed me to take a reference and its associated article from my EndNote Click Locker and send that directly to EndNote Online. I wanted to show another quick example before we wrap today. There are certain information providers that won't allow us to integrate onto their results page. So for some exports, you'll have to utilize the Smart extension. And we're going to look at that again in just a moment. Let's go ahead and we'll search for chocolate, just as an example here. Oh, and I'm on a VPN. I think it just wants me to authenticate, maybe due to traffic. There we go. I'm now not a robot. I've got my Google Scholar search results, and we see here that we don't have a View PDF button like we saw from the Web of Science or that we saw from PubMed. For Google Scholar, you have to use the Smart extension. So if we click the browser icon for EndNote Click that we pin to the top right of Chrome, we see that basically a recreation of the search that's on page and which items EndNote Click is able to find. So just to recap, in this first 10 items or so on this particular search, EndNote Click is only able to find one particular article. Let's see if we can get to a page that has at least two found articles, because I'd like to show an example of a multi-PDF export in action. So let me just proceed through this search here just to see. Here we go. We've got a page here where we've got at least, it looks like we've got 3 PDFs. As the Smart extension is recreating the search, we see a little pop-up window or a pop-up number on the icon for this extension that lets us know how many PDFs are found in this particular instance. So we have, for this page of articles, of search results rather, we have 3 articles that have been found. I could interact with these one at a time, but from the Smart extension, you can export multiple references all at once. So let's mark all 3 of the articles that have been found on this page. And if I wanted to, from this Smart extension screen, I could actually view these selected PDFs and just add them one at a time to my EndNote Click Locker for viewing or exporting further from there. If I wanted to maybe bypass my locker, if I just wanted to download these PDFs, I would have the ability to do so with this icon, download selected PDFs. But if I wanted to send these 3 articles to my EndNote desktop library, I have the option to do so with this icon here, export selected PDFs. Let's go ahead and do that. I've already configured my browser to know how to handle EndNote exports. That's something, again, I would recommend doing before attempting to export from the Smart extension here. But now that that's configured, if I go ahead and click on Export Selected PDFs, all right, we see that those items do get downloaded one at a time behind the scenes. but then they're sent over to my EndNote library here. And just let me go ahead and just resize what we're looking at. There we go. So these are the items that we've sent, from the Google Scholar export to my EndNote desktop library here. And just to recap, not only are we getting the the metadata for each one of these references, this was all captured from the export from Google Scholar in this example here, but we have the PDF that's associated with that reference that's been sent to my EndNote library at the same time. So this can be a great time saver if you are, coming across, PDF articles through your discovery phase or your discovery process, and you just want to direct those from your information provider searches to your EndNote library. Can be a great way to streamline that process and can be a great time saver.